you rightly so should have, and unfortunately they're both competing in the first match. Golden point, you know, so overall for GB that's it's really good that the training's going really, really well.
It is, the training counts, and the truth meets the training here on the mat. Bradley Sinden, he's the man in blue. Joel Gonzalez going with a little judo hip toss there over the shoulder, and the Gamjon straight away. Foul play from the Spaniard, and it's a good start for Sinden. Both in the closed stance, just taking their time, looking. Gonzalez, a low check to the leg there. Gamjon looking a little bit ragged, Sarah.
Yeah, he looks a little bit uneasy, a little bit, you know, unsure of what he's doing. So, you know, anything can happen the first 30 seconds and 2 points already. And Bradley hasn't actually created that himself, so a few mistakes from Joel Gonzalez.
Yep, putting the pressure on Joel Gonzalez, and that's 2 penalty points.
Bradley has a very good sense of where his body is and how, you know, the way that he can use his legs to get up over and score little sneaky points as they just did there, little 2 points there in the clinch. He's very, very good in the clinch, considering he's quite tall, because usually it is quite hard in the short distance when you've got long legs.
Yeah, the long legs of Sinden scoring that little simple 2-pointer extends it to 4 as we creep into the last minute of an engrossing first round. Good attempted headshot there from Joel Gonzalez, not to be ruled out. Cutting low to the leg quite a lot though, the Spanish fighter, so needs to be careful. He's eaten a Gamjon already.
Anything below the belt should be a Gamjon, but possibly the referee didn't see that one.
Well, Bradley Sinden seeing that one coming for sure. Faking, motioning, controlling the Spanish fighter on the way in. And it's been a very good start. And I'm liking these little fakes, these little motions, Sarah.
Yeah, I think it's got the little fakes going on, and I think when he attacks, 3 points there for Joel Gonzalez. I didn't actually see where that went.
Neither did Bradley Sinden, but obviously he went for the body shot, left the back door open, kicked in the face, and it is the Spaniard who's now into the last 10 seconds in this opening period. The men's under 68 kilogram semi-final tries with a punch and a shot on the way through, and that is a perfect way, Sarah, to end that first round.
Yeah, I think, you know, being 4-0 up in the first few seconds maybe made Bradley Sinden a little bit too comfortable. You know, you can't rule out someone like Joel Gonzalez, and I think maybe he probably feels like he's back in the game a little bit now. And
of course, a former teammate of both of ours, who'll be glad that he's back in the game, Martin Stamper. So important to have that coaching relationship.
Yeah, him and Bradley are working really, really well together. He also coaches Christian, who he fought in the first round as well. So quite tough for Martin, but it's great to see ex-athletes, ex-Olympic athletes, not so much even just from Great Britain, but I'm sure there's more athletes here turning professional coaches, so great to see. And just saw that little headshot there. I think Bradley Sinden just switched off a little bit coming out of the clinch.
Left a space, and the Spanish fighter was straight on it, capitalised, pulls himself back into this, but it's still a 6-3 advantage to Bradley Sinden, Doncaster's finest. Can he seal? It will be a massive upset win here to get into this Grand Prix stage. Well, he has a World Championship bronze medal from Korea in the summertime in Muju, but he's got his mojo going here in London. Can he score further? Joel Gonzalez trying to slow things down, using that long front leg. Steady pressure from the Spaniard. And Sinden really showing a lot of professionalism here, Sarah.
Yeah, I think, you know, the way he got caught a little bit on, you know, on the head on the first round has just made him realise, hang on a minute, let's just refocus, get back to everything. That sometimes you need that though. Sometimes you need to get a bit shaken up to make you refocus.
Yep, you've got to stay awake, stay alive to the threat of the Spaniard, of course. Olympic medalist, world level fighter for a number of years, and he has the form favourite coming into this one. But it's as we were, no points on the board so far in this second round, and that will suit the British fighter in blue, who does another nice fake, another motion. He's in the head of Joel Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to be careful there in that middle distance. It is quite hard to score on this system, you know, to the front side there where Joel tried to score. But what Bradley is very, very good at is trying to find a gap. I think he just hit Bradley on the head.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Sarah. A little bit of another judo move there.
The referee has kind of let him off there because I think it was an accident. But
no, I'm going to be less charitable than that. That was a drag of the head, no question about it. Being from Glasgow, we recognise that straight away. Grabbed him by the head, tried to pull him out of the ring. There's a headshot attempt from Sinden, and it lands, and that will help his cause.
I think that's comfortable now. I think Joel Gonzalez there, I think he's felt like he knew he was quite lucky not getting the Gamjung hit, you know, grabbing Bradley's head there, and I think he lost his focus and Bradley took advantage.
Trying to take advantage again, another throw, but this time the Gamjung given the other way. A little bit of overacting there from Bradley Sinden. Pays the price and loses a point. 9-4 in favour of the man from Doncaster. Lands another shot on the inside there. That's a handy two-pointer as we creep towards the ends of the second round. He's got Joe Gonzalez's number at the moment, and the numbers add up as the clock ticks down back to the respective corners. That was a great round.
Bradley is just so young, he should be able to control a match like that, and definitely you know, to control somebody like Joel Gonzalez of his experience. So yeah, very, very impressed.
And speaking of experience, obviously you've fought and won at the very top level. Some athletes, well, Bianca Walton for example, moves along a kind of basic middle quarter-final level and then makes a big step up to these medal matches. Bradley Sinden is doing that here. What does that take? If you're an athlete watching at home, how do you make that jump?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You know, anytime that I coach sessions with the junior squad or anybody, always say, you know, when it's getting hard, when you're doing speed, when you're doing anything, the last round should be your best, because that's the way you have to go in a competition. Your final should always be the best. That's the way you should train, even if you're just kicking pads or anything like that.
Well, speaking of the last round and giving it your maximum to get into that final, both men still very much in contention. Let's not rule out Joel Gonzalez. Of course, this is taken live on the BBC, but very much an international flavour to this Grand Prix. And Joel Gonzalez very much in contention. It just needs a couple of headshots. He's got close so far, but it is Sinden bossing things, standing in the centre of the ring and eyeballing Joel Gonzalez, who looks a little bit shook at the moment here. There's a headshot, as we mentioned, just sailing past. Good cover there from Sinden in the last second.
I think, yeah, definitely lucky there. I think what Joel Gonzalez is good at is being dynamic, but that's also what Joel is probably going to get caught on, because Bradley's very good at just finding a gap. So when someone comes dynamic and fast, then you are going to be quite open at somewhere, and Bradley seems to find that. But also Bradley needs to be aware, because if something's coming fast, like he put his hand up there, maybe he might not be so lucky. So he's doing really, really well, keeping the focus.
And that focus very much on the face, etched on the eyebrows of Sinden. He's glaring down the barrel at Gonzalez at the moment. And the Spaniard can't find any answers at the moment. He looks a little bit confused and bemused here in the centre stage in the copper box. Can he find a shot? Back kick there. It does land for Gonzalez, clawing himself back into this one. Less than a minute to go in the third and potentially final round. 5-point gap. Bradley Sinden, good footwork, but it's a nice little score there from Sinden.
I think Bradley was slightly surviving a little bit there, and Gonzalez again trying to creep back in. Anything can happen, you know. 5-6 points, 2-3 shots max in this game now.
No question about it, but they've got 30 seconds and some change left in which to do it. A little push forward there from Sinden, staying on the offensive, flicks it up to the face, scores, and that could close this one out as a contest here into the last 20 seconds. Bradley Sinden on the cusp of the Grand Prix final here. And it's going to be an intervention from the referee. Joel Gonzalez has lost the momentum. Has he lost this match? He came in as the favourite. He looks absolutely out on his feet here. Tries it, walks into a back kick. Sinden has a chance to look at the scoreboard, and it makes very good reading indeed. 4 seconds to go, and it is going to be a Grand Prix final, Sarah, for Bradley Sinden.
Go Donny.
The Donny bomber strikes again, and he's into the final. Joel Gonzalez, well, he came in, he had the reputation, but this young man couldn't care less about it, stuck it to him, went for a fight, and not only that, we talked about Martin Stamper, the coach in the corner. They had their game plan rock solid.
Yeah, I think there was literally one time Bradley switched off where Joel Gonzalez took advantage of. Other than that, I think he really, really played the match well. He controlled. Definitely the second and third round, Joel Gonzalez was pretty much unsure of what to do. Bradley had everything sorted. If he was coming with the front leg, he was covering, he was moving back. So yeah, he played that match perfect.
He did play it perfect.